Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Monday, January 15th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Well, I'm going to pull up that transit calendar, and it's not really a whole lot going on today, but we're still going to talk about it. There wasn't a whole lot going on yesterday, but we're still going to talk about it. But on Saturday, which I did miss the weekend forecast, so I do apologize for that. But on Saturday, we did have Mercury that entered into Capricorn, as well as the moon, excuse me, entering into Pisces. So we did have that energy going on this past weekend. And I would say that this is probably one of the more chill couple day stretch of the month, if you will. We're getting ready for a very, very intense third week of the month. As you can see, we have some very powerful days ahead of us. We have, of course, the first quarter moon. The moon's going to enter into Taurus, and then we're going to have Mercury trine Jupiter, Venus square Neptune, Sun conjunct Pluto, and then we're going to see the Sun enter into Aquarius and Pluto enter into Aquarius on Saturday. So we are building up to one of the most powerful weeks of the year. So let's go ahead and look at the actual chart itself. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up for you guys. Right. So at the current moment, you can see here the Sun here at 24 degrees of Capricorn, right? And it is getting ready to make a sextile over to Neptune. I said that's probably the most major aspect of the day. We do, of course, have the moon here as well in Pisces, getting ready to conjunct Neptune around that same time. I'm surprised I didn't put this on the calendar. But we do have that energy going on today. It's probably going to be the major energy that's happening. Of course, you can see that Mercury now has ingressed into Capricorn, right? So it is back in Capricorn, back in Earth, getting ready to climb the mountain and wanting to catch back up to Mars and the Sun. Now we have all of this Capricornian energy, 4 planets there, and it's starting to get really, you're starting to feel the pressure, right? You're starting to feel the pressure right now. And you know, it's interesting, right? So like I've meditated a little bit before coming on doing this recording, and I've been, trying to essentially meditate before I do the recordings, and I've been doing pretty good at it. It's like this last week or so. But I'm not gonna lie, the last few meditations were actually a bit tough to get through. It's funny, you look at pictures of people meditating and they always seem so calm and peaceful, but then on the inside it's probably like, ah! At least that's how it was for me. Like I could feel it's like because I had like my headphones on and I was listening to the meditation music, and it was tuned to certain frequency hertz, so it would create like a sine wave, if you will, right? So it's like when that was happening, I could feel my body, like the cells in my body. My stomach was definitely going. The stomach was like, rah, rah, rah. But I think it was responding to the frequencies, and I think, right now, there's a lot of pressure right now in the universe. There's a lot of pressure right now because we are responding to these crazy frequencies, responding to the solar flares that are going on. And like I said, that meditation, it wasn't the easiest. But the main thing I got out of it, because I had this thought that came across, was like, I'm at war with myself. And then I heard the very clear thought afterwards, it was like, not today. And I'm like, that's awesome. I think a lot of times we can be at war with ourselves. Most of the time we're at war with ourselves, but not today. You know what I'm saying? Like we can decide not today. We can decide to not be at war with ourselves, and that's requires a conscious kind of effort, if you will. Of course, we do have the planet of war, Mars, here at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and this is actually the degree that Mercury retrograded at. So there is this element now that Mercury's coming to Capricorn where we still kind of want to jump the gun, because We want to feel like we have this big picture. We want to feel like we have the information that we need. And since Mars is at this degree, activating this 8-degree point, it's like we want to take some action, especially with Mars being exalted. It wants to just climb the mountain and get through with it, right? It wants to just like show that it's the best. But Mercury is still lagging behind. So we're not going to have the full picture. This is going to be an exercise in faith. Why do I say that? Well, because we're not going to have the full picture because Mercury is still in his shadow, and because we do have a sun that will come into a sextile with Neptune, and this is going to be happening with the moon. This is going to be happening with the moon. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 is Neptunian energy. So this is in spirituality. So this is definitely an exercise of faith. There is an opportunity that arises here with the sun in Capricorn, sextiling over to this Neptune and moon in Pisces. Sextiles, a 60-degree angle, I equated to an opportunity. What is that opportunity that's going to arise? Well, the sun right here, Capricorn, of course, is focused on legacy. It's focused on career. It's focused on it's what you are known for. That's what Capricorn is. It's what you are known for. And yes, it deals in many ways with the hard work, the battle of attrition, getting things done, tying up loose ends is more Virgo, but this is about, we can only be truly successful if we are willing to tie those loose ends. This is about doing the work, not being lazy. And what's interesting too is that Pisces has no problem with just going with the flow of things, right? But it's interesting. Capricorn, which is so structured and wants to be regimented, it makes a sextile to Pisces energy. And Pisces energy is very go with the flow, very I don't recognize time. If you think about it, like if you think about Saturn being the ruler of time, Saturn rules Capricorn. So that means Aquarius and Pisces are outside of time. And even though Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn, because Saturn is a traditional ruler of it, you have Uranus is the actual ruler of Aquarius. So Pisces is outside of time. So that's the thing about this. There's an opportunity here that can open up today, especially with a moon on Neptune, which is going to be feeling into the collective subconscious today. There's going to be an opportunity that arises here for us to see where we can take the human story, if you will, to the next level. Because remember, Mercury is just in Sag. It's talking about the story, right? The narrative that we're speaking. Now that's into Capricorn, and Mars is on the spot that Mercury retrograded. We have an opportunity to take some sort of action right now. But it's going to come through this vehicle of faith, and whether or not we believe that despite the fact that the sun and Pluto is getting closer and closer, and it's a pressure cooker right now in Capricorn. There's a pressure cooker happening right now in Capricorn at the end of Capricorn, right? And Capricorn is what? It's large buildings, it's society in many ways. And for this to be Pluto, which is the planet of death and destruction, rebirth and transformation, we're going to start to really feel into this collective subconscious of like, what are the responsibilities that we need to take on in order to create a more beautiful world. We almost have to reach past time. We almost have to be able to, if we're so focused on the matrix and what is here, right, readily available in front of us, and not be able to utilize our imagination to envision a better world for ourselves, a better world for our community, a better world for our country, a better world for the world at large. We have to be able to reach into the collective subconscious, collective unconscious, many ways too here, right? And be able to extract from that those opportunities for us to take some awesome action, which is going to require us to take on the responsibilities and have the personal accountability to make this change in our life, to make this transformation, and to see that we don't necessarily need to have all the answers. We're not going to have all the answers. But there's going to be a little bit of excitement that comes out of today, because it's almost like you can see into the future, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to get there. We don't necessarily know how we're going to get there, because things are still a little murky. They're getting clearer. They're a lot clearer than they were a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, when we had all of these planets retrograde. We only have Uranus retrograde now. So things are definitely getting clearer. But like I said, Mercury is still in its shadow. So we haven't really had any new Capricornian thoughts. We haven't had any new thoughts in a while. So in many ways, Mars is going to be acting off of what we've already have gone over in our heads. And Mars rules the head. Aries is the head. So we're now it's like we're really trying to figure out. I was like, okay, I had this information. These things have happened over the last month or so. What am I going to do with this information? Am I going to seize the opportunities that present themselves? The great thing about an energy like this is that because it's so magical and shit, and because the sun is involved, it's going to illuminate some type of opportunity that's going to present itself to you today and be like, yo, maybe you connect with an individual. Maybe you meet one of your guides today. Today will be a great day to meditate. But like I said, it won't necessarily be the most comfortable day to meditate, because especially with our minds being like, okay, like I want this, I want to know this, I want to know this thing, I want to know that thing, I want to know this thing, and the Mars is like, yo, we gotta move, we gotta take some action, we gotta go. And then that Sun, of course, and that Pluto are getting closer and closer and closer together. It's causing a lot of electricity. It's causing a lot of friction right now. Where you have, of course, the Sun and then the outermost planet coming together. And we won't see this again in our lifetime. We won't see an energy like this again in our lifetime. We won't. Because when these energies do conjunct, it will when we see these energies finally conjunct, it is literally at the razor thin last edge of Capricorn, 2959, with a moon that is going to be enshrined to it in Taurus at the razor edge. Razor edge. You can't get any closer than this, y'all. I'm going to just move it by minutes now. And you'll see that moon is moving to Gemini. The sun will move into Aquarius. And then, of course, several hours later, we're going to see Pluto also enter into Aquarius on Saturday. I'm going to be talking about this throughout the week. I'm going to be touching on this throughout the week. This is a forecast, right? Even though this is for January 15th, I'm going to be talking about the 19th and the 20th throughout the entire week, because it's super fucking important. And I want to make sure that you guys are prepared, because this is a major shift that is happening. The fact that they meet at the last fucking degree and last minute of Capricorn with a moon that is trining it, which brings up a harmonious aspect, but there's so much pressure here. And then they move into Aquarius within 12 hours of each other. Hopefully just my animation here of expressing this and explaining this, hopefully my animation of this will show you just how important this is. We have the ability to peer into the future today. And it's going to be weird because we're not going to be able to have the full scope of it. We're not going to be able to see the fullness of it. There's still some foggy areas, right? There's still some shadowy areas. And if it's the shadows and it's the fog there that we can sort of psych ourselves out of and be like wondering and second guessing whether or not to pursue this incredible opportunity that can come up today. But if we look into the future and we're like, wait, I don't know, I can't really, there's a little bit of a blind spot over here, there's a bit of a blind spot over there. What if there's like some sort of monster or ghoul within that blind spot? More than likely, what's in those blind spots is some repressed aspect of you, probably an aspect of you that needs to be healed in many ways. Or it could be one of your guides. It could be an aspect of your higher self that just hasn't made itself known to you yet. A superpower, if you will, right? Yeah, you may not. There's some blind spots in a day like today. There's some blind spots because we want to move things forward. Because by the time we get to the later part of the day, we're going to see Mars. It's not going to quite hit 9 degrees, but we will see that Moon hit the 29th degree of Pisces today. And it will actually sextile Pluto. So not only does the Moon sextile the Sun while conjunct Neptune, we're going to see the Moon also sextile Pluto today. So today is sort of like a precursor for the whole week, and really a precursor to this whole Pluto in Aquarius energy and this whole transition stage. We are getting ready for a major boss battle right now. And today is sort of like, I don't know if it's like really like a mini boss level, but it's almost like today is like the debriefing of the mission. Today is almost sort of like like the strategy meeting, right? That's what today kind of is. And it can spook you a little bit because it is so big. It is so intense. It is a lot. So that's why I think it's important for you to have grace in yourself. That's why I think it's important for you to acknowledge those things in your life that have been working out, that are amazing, that are loving. That's why I think it's important for you to not be at war with yourself as least as possible, to not be at war. Does that make sense? As least as possible. Do not go to war with yourself today. You know, as much as you can help it. This is about, yes, when it comes to raising our vibration and bettering ourselves, there are going to be some easy days and some days where it just feels like it's flowing and great and beautiful, right? And other days where it's going to feel like a slog, where it feels like you are just trying, where it's going to feel like one of those mud races, right? You know, and you're just like crawling through the mud and stuff like that. And it's like a spiritual boot camp kind of thing, you know. And in many ways, that's where we are, right? Everyone wants to think that, you know, the awakening experience and stuff like that, like it's like this beautiful, fluffy, cute thing. Nah, it's like a spiritual boot camp, right? And some of you guys have guides that have been probably screaming and yelling at you for a long time, like wanting you to realize just how powerful, amazing you are, because they want you to join them because they're your guides, but really they're your friends. They're some of your best friends are your guides, right? And you've traveled with these people a lot. And you have been their guides at some point when they were incarnated here in the flesh and you were on the other side in the spirit realm and you were their guide. So it goes back and forth like a pendulum, right? So this is like we are in a bit of a spiritual boot camp right now. And 2024 is the year of the graduation, which is why a lot of things are going. This is the year of revelation. This is the year where a lot of truths are going to be dropped. And it's the preparation for the second half of the 2020s. Because 2025, 2026, things are going to get really intense. 2024 is already going to be intense, but this is, like I said, this is like the graduation. This is going to really separate the cream from the crop. This is really going to show who's bad about it. And this, a day like today, that is sort of like a premonition, if you will, sort of like a precursor, peering into what the rest of this year is going to be like. This is going to be one of those moments where it's going to be like, am I going to go for this opportunity? Am I going to take it? Or am I going to just let it go by the wayside? Now, the great thing, too, about a year like this is that we'll have multiple opportunities. And honestly, no matter what year it is, you have multiple opportunities to awaken, to get on the right track and stuff like that. So it's not like no matter how deep you get into the matrix, no matter how deep you get into things, there's always an opportunity for a reversal. There's always an opportunity for redemption. Always. Now, depending upon what you do, it may take a couple of lifetimes for you to redeem yourself, right? But there's always opportunity for redemption. So, like I said, have some grace in yourself, believe in yourself, know that you are much more capable than you realize, and that you can make it through these moments and thrive. Let's get into the cards. Let it vibrate. Oh, let it vibrate. Vibrate, 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 vibrate. Vibrate, vibrate. All right, what do we got today? We have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, there could be a feeling where we're on the outside looking in, and there's probably also FOMO, a little bit of that, a little bit of the fear of missing out. This Five of Pentacles that's coming through here. This is like, don't worry about the shadows and what you can't see and stuff like that. Dude, don't worry about all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah, you're not going to have the full picture. And just because you don't have the full picture, it doesn't mean that things aren't going to work out for you. You need to be able to see beyond your situation too. You need to be able to see beyond it, have that vision. We have it followed by the Two of Wands. You have to make a decision. You have to actually take some sort of action. But this Two of Wands is like, okay, do I go this way or do I go that way? But it's in reverse. So it's like the reason why you are even feeling the lack right here, the only reason why you're feeling the lack of value is because you're still kind of making a decision. You're still trying to figure out, you're second guessing. It's like, I wonder what would happen if I went that way. Well, just fully commit to the path that you're on, right? Or if you do want to change course, just make sure you fully commit to that, right? We have that followed on the bottom of the deck. I have the Ace of Cups in reverse. Yeah, the spiritual awakening is not always going to feel good. Spiritual awakening is not always going to feel like it's a super flow. Sometimes there are some days, and you've been there before, you get it. Some days it does seem like it's magical. It almost feels kind of Disney-like, right? Everything's kind of falling into place. It's just beautiful. The energy's just flowing. And then there are other days where it does feel like a bit of a drag, right? Today is going to be a day where there are going to be times where it may feel like a bit of a drag. I'm not going to lie. But if there's an opportunity that arises that will really show you just how powerful you are and the potential that the future holds. And, with the moon being in Pisces too, and going over Neptune, we're going to be feeling much more into the collective fabric of things. So if you're feeling into that collective fabric of things, you may be feeling into the woe and the despair and the I don't have enough, you know, you may be feeling into this energy, but you have to ask yourself, is all of this energy me? Maybe some of it, but is all of this me, or is this the people around me? You know what I mean? So you actually have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to follow the way that everyone else is going, or are you going to actually go your own way and choose your own path? You know, the road less traveled, right? The road less traveled. And yes, maybe you feel a little bit ostracized too. But so yeah, like a day like today, people are probably I feel like people may be complaining a lot today. I feel like people may get really emotional about the state of affairs in the world as these energies, the sun and Pluto, come more together. I feel like people, and with Mars on top of the degree that Mercury retrograded at, some people may even want to take action. You know what I mean about this stuff. But you have to ask yourself: is this coming from a place of fear? Is this coming from a place of lack? Or is this coming from a place of abundance? And that's the thing about this. So you have to ask yourself. So I think before you take really kind of any action, I would ask myself that question: is this action being born from a place of lack, or is it being born from a place of abundance? I think that's a good way to kind of look at today and how to get through it. So that is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Monday. I'll see you all on the next astrology forecast. Peace.